What it was a copy of a letter written by a young Marine to his mother while he was hospitalized after being wounded on a Korean battlefield in 1950. And it came into the hands of a Navy chaplain. The Navy chaplain read this letter before 5,000 Marines at the San Diego Naval Base in 1951, and then it found its way into this news director's hands. But the Navy chaplain talked with the boy, and he talked with the boy's mother and the members of the patrol and the sergeant in charge of the patrol, and privately, Navy chaplain Captain Father Walter Molnar, and he might be listening now with the power of your radio station, and Michael himself might be listening now because I've talked with him.
Really?
Privately, the good father will tell you that it's a true story. So what we did was start to read the story on the Christmas Eve of 1960 and did it for 8 years in Detroit. And what we say at Christmas time is we read the letter and let it stand on its own merits. And the story is the letter, a copy of the original letter from a Marine named Michael about what happened to him on a Korean battlefield in 1950.
Okay, we all ready to hear it?
All right.
All right, let's hear it right now.
Snow began to fall in great thick globs. In a brief moment, the whole countryside was blotted out, and I was marching in a white fog of wet, sticky particles. My companion disappeared. "Michael!" I shouted in sudden alarm. I felt his hand on my arm. His voice was rich and strong. "This will stop shortly." His prophecy proved to be correct. In a few minutes, the snow stopped as abruptly as it had begun. The sun was a hard, shining disk. I looked back for the rest of the patrol. There was no one in sight. We lost them in that heavy fall of snow. I looked ahead as we came over a little rise. Mom, my heart stopped. There were 7 of them. 7 commies in their padded pants and jackets and their funny hats. Only there wasn't anything funny about them now. 7 rifles were aimed at us. "Down, Michael!" I screamed and hit the frozen earth. I heard those rifles fire almost as one. I heard the bullets. There was Michael, still standing. "Mom, those guys couldn't have missed. Not at that range. I expected to see him literally blown to bits. But there he stood, making no effort to fire himself. He was paralyzed with fear. It happens sometimes, Mom, even to the bravest. He was like a bird, fascinated by a snake. At least that's what I thought then. I jumped up to pull him down, and that's when I got mine. I felt a sudden flame in my chest. I often wondered what it felt like to be hit. Now, I know. I remember feeling strong arms about me. Arms that laid me ever so gently on a pillow of snow. I opened my eyes for one last look. I was dying. Maybe I was even dead. I remember thinking, well, this isn't so bad. Maybe I was looking into the sun. Maybe I was in shock. But it seemed I saw Michael standing erect again. Only this time his face was shining with a terrible splendor. As I say, maybe it was the sun in my eyes, but he seemed to change as I watched him. He grew bigger. His arms stretched out wide. Maybe it was the snow falling again, but there was a brightness around him, like the wings of an angel. In his hand was a sword that flashed with 1,000,000 lights. Well, that's the last thing I remember till the rest of the fellows came up and found me. I don't know how much time had passed, but now and then I had a moment's respite from the pain and fever. I remember telling them of the enemy just ahead. "Where's Michael?" I asked. I saw them look at one another. Where's who? Asked one. Michael. Michael, that big Marine I was walking with just before the snow squall hit us.
Kid, said the sergeant, you weren't walking with anyone. I had my eyes on you the whole time.
You were getting too far out. I was just going to call you in when you disappeared in the snow.
He looked at me, curiously.
How'd you do it, kid? How'd I do what?
I asked, half angry despite my wound.
This Marine named Michael and I were just...
Son, said the sergeant kindly, I picked this outfit myself, and there just ain't another Michael in it.
You're the only Mike in it.
He paused for a minute.
Just how'd you do it, kid? We heard shots.
There hasn't been a shot fired from your rifle. And there isn't a bit of lead in them 7 bodies over the hill there.
I didn't say anything. What could I say? I could only look, open-mouthed, with amazement.
It was then the sergeant spoke again. Kid, he said gently, every one of those 7 commies over the hill there was killed by a sword stroke.
That's all I can tell you, Mom. As I say, it may have been the sun in my eyes. It may have been the cold or the pain. But that's what happened. Love, Michael.